Welcome to the Caribbean Edge News. Muhammad Ali in 1960 won a gold medal in the lightweight division for the Summer Olympics in Rome. 1964, at the age of 22 years old, he won the heavyweight championship, major upset against Sonny Liston. In 1967, he was arrested for draft evasion charges. He refused to fight in the Vietnam War and was sentenced to 5 years, which he didn't serve, but it cost him his boxing title, and he was not allowed to fight for over 3 years. In 1971, the Supreme Court overturned his conviction, and he resumed his boxing career at the age of 25. 61 fights, 56 wins, 37 wins by knockout, and 5 losses. And we have Dr. Khalilah Camacho-Ali. Married to Ali in August of 1967, studied karate and earned her a 3rd degree black belt. Divorced Ali in 1977 after 10 years of marriage. She has 6 children, 4 for Ali and 10 grandchildren. Humanitarian, author, and actress. Welcome to the Caribbean Edge.
Most definitely, and we are so excited to have on Dr. Khalilah Camacho-Ali, and in every sense of the word, you are royalty. We are so honored to have you on. Just your whole story, that being behind one of the icons of the world, and how the great Muhammad Ali shook up the world. And tonight we're going to get into not only Muhammad Ali, but your role, your pivotal role behind not only a great boxer, but a great humanitarian, a freedom fighter, and just somebody that is so beloved, not only throughout this country, but throughout this world. So welcome, Dr. Ali, for joining us.
Thank you so much, I really am. I am so honored to be here with you all. And it's just been awesome trying to express the different adventures and journey that I went through with Cassius and Muhammad, those 2 people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I actually saw clay turn into gold, so that's I was there for that moment. There's been a lot of great moments and a lot of great journeys, and I mean special events surrounding our marriage and introduction to different people around us.
Right.
And I'm happy to be here to share it on the Caribbean Edge, which is a great show. You have seen a lot of your shows, and you bring out you're very informative on different things and issues, and you present it very well, and I'm just honored to be here. Thank you.
Okay, well, we love having you, and Dawn Wilson and Cheryl Ann Marshall. We can't wait to really start just unearthing your story, and we are going to reveal to the audience today some things that they might not know. So I would suggest, if you have a young person that's within proximity, whether at home or you're out with your child or your niece or nephew, just pull them in maybe for the next half an hour, and just to listen to you have some stories to tell us.
Yeah, love to share. Yes.
Right. And let's start with back in 1967, and what a lot of people might not know is that while Muhammad Ali was so-called banned from boxing because of the stance that he took, you played a pivotal role during that 3-year stretch in just keeping his spirits up. And do you want us to elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, back in those days, his issues were our issues. The Muslims in America was known for these issues, and we were a religious group that was anti-war. And so when he decided not to go into the army, he didn't think it was a big thing, because before he was already drafted once, and he failed the psychological test, and he was considered what, 1Y or something. So all of a sudden, and everybody knows you're not supposed to draft anybody twice, but it doesn't matter. When laws are made, they can be made to be broken to their situation. So when he was convinced that, you know, he was going to be drafted again, he thought, well, you know, it doesn't matter because I'm not going to really be fighting over there. I'll be in a gym like Joe Louis. But that was beside the point, and we had to make it very clear to him. We Muslims do not support, you know, the war. So being taken like that in a draft, and to set up a barrier where he couldn't travel at all. He couldn't go to any country. They stripped him not only of the title, they not only stripped him of that, but they stripped him of him traveling. They took his passport, and he couldn't do anything. And this man was in his prime. And there was a time that after he won the title, and it was in 1973, that this one guy proposed Ali to sue the government because of those 3 years to pay him back for the time he could have made money doing his own crime. Right. And he could have won that and got paid for that time. But Muhammad Ali, being kind, didn't want to start any trouble, didn't want to go back to those issues. He was free, and he didn't think it was necessary to go backwards. He just wanted to move forward. And only Ali could have made that work, but he decided not to. So the fact that this young man was stripped of his title because of his interest being into the Muslim world, to join the Muslim world, he was dedicated to his stand because of the Muslim beliefs, and he had support in that. But at the same time, this man was hurt, this man was distraught, and he became depressed. He was depressed for the fact he was young and eager and he wanted to fight. And to take that away from somebody, that's what he does, it's more torture than you can imagine. Right. And to keep his spirits up, I think that's where God put me in his presence and to be a part of his life, to keep him uplifted, to keep him positive, and to make sure that he gained this presence of hope. And I knew he was going to fight again. This is too good not to. There are people out there like to make money, and this is a greedy country, and that's what they do. And they will be back. So that I already knew. You're just knowing America. So he can understand how I was so positive in that. He said, "You've never been anywhere, were you? How do you know these things?" And I said, "Well, you know what? I just know, I've been taught about the way America works, and I've been taught about the leadership of America, and I've been taught about the way you do things. They've been doing the same things since the cowboys and Indian days. They haven't stopped, So this is something that I learned in the Muslim school, knowing my own history, knowing about black history. It wasn't even in white schools, but we had it when we were coming up. So we wasn't blindfolded to the fact that, there's a force out there trying to keep the black man oppressed and back, and to hold them back. So in that order, trying to keep his self-esteem up was the hardest thing that I had to do. And as a young, very young girl, getting married at a young age, but I do know how the system works, because we've lived in a nation within a nation as it is, under the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam. We know these crises. We live with these crises every day. So this is just a part of my life. And so to give Ali this confidence and to give him a little understanding in layman terms where he'll understand it. He wasn't the greatest education in the world, but at least he understood where I was coming from. And he trusted me, because in the past, he's trusted what I've said in the past. And so that's where we stood by that. And in between those 3 aggravating years, I kept him open to the revolutionary periods, the civil rights movements, and to keep, even though we're Muslims, we do not participate in these acts, because we don't like to disturb and be a nuisance to America, or whatever. So we won't be drawn into their judicial system by disrupting or destroying or disturbing anything, because we had our own laws and everything. So, but we did support them. We supported people standing up for their rights and standing up for the movement and being supportive of those movements. And they've gotten a lot from us. It was the first man that started saying we were black people and we were proud to be black. You know, there was a time you call somebody black, that cut your throat. But we have came out of that syndrome into a positive black power struggle. And Elijah Muhammad was the first man doing that movement that actually said, be proud of being black. So he started that part, and they flew with it. And the Black Power movement came, you know, and I was able to meet great men of our history, such as Adam Clayton Powell Jr., and, you know, John Carlos, Angela Davis, you know, Huey Newton, all these, Jim Brown. I mean, these are great black men. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, which was Louis Sindo at the time. And great other men, black men. And it's almost like looking back in time, like history repeats itself. You know, remember around the Paul Robeson days, you know, like that, and the baseball heroes, you know. And Aaron, Ernie Banks. I mean, I met all these people. Ernie Banks lived in our neighborhood. I mean, this was just, it gives me goosebumps to see all these great people. I was a little girl looking at all these great men. I was born and lived up around leaders. And to see these great black people do their thing, and, you know, serving coffee with Martin Luther King in Elijah Muhammad's home. Come on, man. You know, you almost had to wear a sweater every day if my goosebumps were so strong. So, and to sit back and look at all these years that I used and met all these great people, James Brown, little Jackson 5 when he was little, and Stevie Wonder, and all these great Americans who participated in this black civil rights movement. Donny Hathaway, you know, you got Curtis Mayfield, who wrote all these great songs to the movies, Trouble Man, and every time they would sing in essence to the movement and the civil rights of that era.
Now, just talk about carrying that torch from that period on. Why did you feel an obligation, Dr. Ali, to carry that torch on, and to even to this day, more than ever, be as forceful and getting the message out as far as having that pride about oneself and having a certain standard about oneself? Talking about, was there one defining moment where you realized that even without Muhammad Ali, that it's your turn now, so to speak? Did you ever feel you were in his shadow? or was there ever a definitive moment where you said, now it's my time
Yeah.
to carry that
Well, you
on?
know, during that period when a Muslim woman marries a man, well, me in particular, that's who I know best, I wanted to push my man out there to be seen. I wanted to push my man out to support him, everything he does, and give him any kind of advice he needed. And when I push my man forward, then I'm taken care of, because if my man is satisfied and he's being taken care of and he's doing the struggle, then I'm right there with it. I don't consider me being in a shadow. That's not, it doesn't even come to mind.
Right.
There's no shadow when you're one.
Right.
So when you're married, I only looked at us as one. And if I push my man out there, he's going to be noticed, and that's all I need. Because if he's noticed, this family is noticed,
Right.
and this family is comfortable. And when he's taken care of, we're taken care of. So there's no in the shadow thing. There's no such thing. There's no shadow. It's a one unit. Yes.
You never felt belittled.
I never feel no. On the contrary, I felt proud, and I felt blessed, and I felt that this was my time to do what I had to do to make this man strong. And this is my time to do what I had to do to support him. And I said, no, don't do that, do this. Don't do this, do that. And it will be better for us. And it was a thing that it was a support system. It wasn't something, I demanded from it. But on the other hand, there was sometimes that you didn't do this. I was threatening or something. And the only thing that you can threaten Muhammad Ali is outdoing him in anything. So I said, okay, you don't win this fight, I'm hoping you're on Wide World of Sports on TV. Everybody knows. Yeah. He was like, would you do that? Yes, I would. And so it's like pushing a person.
Yes.
And when he didn't train or do right, I would say, hey man, you're not trained. And if he ever stand up against me and say, you gonna tell me what to do? Oh, I said, oh, you did not say that. Okay, okay, I'm not gonna support you on that. Go on your own, and then he lose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And he come back to the
And he
fold.
come back and say, I'm sorry, I'll never do that again. Because when you lose, I lose.
Right.
So we can't be losing. There's no room for that. That's so it's a support system, and I mean John F. Kennedy had Jacqueline Jacqueline Kennedy. She supported him too. Now they will make a big thing out of a white woman supporting her own husband. Big thing, big. But when a black man support her husband, really? We did it. We was the Michelle and Obama of the 60s.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
The Coretta Scott King and her husband. Strong.
Right.
He didn't let nobody block it. That's one thing Ali made a mistake. He didn't stick like he was supposed to. He went off. But then again, when they're young, they go off. But what happens is, you have to understand, nobody's perfect in this world, and you can only do the best you can, and whatever your fate lies is how you make it. And you have to stick together, you have to pray together, and when that stops, then you're going to have a problem. You're going to have a problem. So even though there was a reason for divorce, yes it was, and divorce is never a good thing, never a good thing. But I decided we're going to be friends regardless, okay? We have a family, and you can see the kids, we don't go to court to X about seeing your kids. They're your kids. I don't use my kids or nothing like that
pull strings.
No,
Yeah.
and that's what these young women need to do. You say back in the day, right? Now you're saying this generation, what you told me? Is because this generation is a different generation.
Right.
And there are holes and loopholes that these kids didn't go through the children that we came through. So there's another form of teaching that I discovered, and the form of that is character.
Right.
These children has lost the sense of respect, has lost the sense of authority. They just can't seem to find their way. and they're influenced with all these mechanism of influence. You got television not only influences, but you got the cell phone now. You got everything on that cell phone that can totally distract your children from truth. And it's also can distract your children for goodness. So anything that you have in this world can have a positive and a negative syndrome. So what I feel is to teach these children manners in the old code, okay? And more than anything, that they don't have empathy and they don't have humanity on their plate. And that switch is there. They have to know how to find that switch, and they need to turn it on and keep it on.
Dr. Ali, I do want you to talk about your coloring book, because this goes back quite a number of years. It's a powerful tool. I'm going to hold it up for the audience, and I want you to speak on this coloring book. And you obviously got this is your new cover, and you're excited about. And tell me about this project and what you have in store.
Well, I'll tell you what, this coloring book is called Color to Learn, because when you color in it, you're learning when you color. Any other coloring books that used to have back in the day, you would just try to stay in the lines, and just see pretty pictures. But this one, when you start coloring, there's a picture to learn from the coloring book. And inside the book, this is a new cover I just gave up. I have a great guy named Mr. Carrera, and he designed this for me. It's great. He's a wonderful man. And what happens is, in my coloring book, Color to Learn, inside I have a proclamation given me from the mayor of Miami. And I have a thing, a lot of people have in books called preface, but I don't have that. I call it sharing knowledge. And in this book, can I read this right? Is this a small thing? It says, some of us remembers parents of yesterday and the parents before them. So this was when they taught the children hospitality, family values, common courtesy, and good manners. That was way back in the day, sweetheart. So I was spiritually inspired by the value system given to me by my parents and by my grandparents. And by using these basic steps throughout my worldly travels, it made me very successful. So I'm presenting this first edition collection that has a combination of all levels in this one volume. It has a combination of all levels, of all ages. You think children have bad manners? You'll be surprised how many less manners that we even use every day. So I'm trying to bring that back. And as you know, most of the children of the day and some adults are lacking more of these values every day. And when I was growing up, back in the good old days, there were good old days, right? So I met many people. Some were leaders, freedom fighters, good role models, and other elderly friends of mine who have taught, advised, and influenced me with these golden values. All you have to do is just practice them. It leads you to the road to your dreams, and it will put you on the highway to success. Now, education will give you an open door every time. But to get to that, to have a complete door open for your success, is the way you carry yourself.
Absolutely.
Basically. And that's in everything you do. Your jobs, getting your jobs, trying to get a job, trying to train a school or train a group. And all these people who are leaders and teachers, they have a conduct of manners as well.
Absolutely.
There's a code there. So the education and the knowledge is always opening doors for our opportunity. Almost 75% of our family problems are caused by no communication, no understanding, no practice, no patience, no respect to our parents and to each other. Now, we lose this every day. So, for the first time ever, this special publication is for the parents and children of all ages and for all nationalities. This does not exclude anyone.
So we'll definitely put that on as well so people know how to get a copy of it.
This is my gift to give back to those that I have observed and seem not giving tribute to their own character. This is why we have problems with the police department and criminals. They have a code, they have an attitude, and they're judged, and they're written up and charged by not only their criminal action, but the company they keep.
Yeah.
If you're in a car with a criminal, but you're judged by it because you're with this guy, and you have to realize you shouldn't hang around people who has bad character, because you don't want to associate yourself with them. And this is the first sign that children should do in schools right now. You know, you see all the bullying. I was bullied when I was in school, and all the bullying shows that this person have a lack of knowledge, a lack of patience, and a lack of ignorance, which they are better than that what they seem to be, but they don't want to be because they're lazy. So they're rather say, if they're miserable, you're going to be miserable with me. And that's what caused bullies.
So we're learning life lessons from Mama Ali for our youth. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, a lot of our viewers are Caribbean, as you know.
Oh, yes.
And so we are so honored that you're here. And your husband, tell us, did you go to Jamaica? He was presented the key to the city of Kingston on one of his trips by our Prime Minister, Michael Manley. And he also met Edward Seaga. So you mentioned meeting.
I was along with that trip. Yes, I was there.
How was your trip? Tell
That
us.
was wonderful. Kingston, Jamaica will always be a home to me.
Oh.
All I can remember is when we pulled up off the airplane, there was welcoming with the beautiful music and with the steel drums, and oh, it was so nice. And when we left the airport, driving through the countryside and seeing the waterside, before we got to the most beautiful hotel, Jamaican Pegasus, where we stayed. And they had all the Jamaican food and everything.
The best food in the world. Oh my God, the spices.
Unbelievable. and the warmth and the hospitality they gave us. Mr. Michael Manley and his beautiful wife Beverly, and he had a little daughter named Michelle. Natasha, right. And Natasha was little Muhammad's little girlfriend, because they was like rubbing, they was on the floor playing around and he was showing her all the way around. It was a very magnificent trip. And the people of Jamaica was just so warm and hospitality. And on the other hand, I noticed that the young men and the young women of Jamaica still have those old code manners and etiquette. And most countries, other than America, still have that code. And I'm proud to see that.
Thank you.
Jamaica. I love Jamaica. Jamaica is very beautiful. I've met a lot of Jamaicans here. I was able to meet Bob Marley and his family. You have no idea the excitement that goes around in my head when I was traveling with Ali. He draws anybody and everybody of any kind of importance or unimportance.
I know. I saw a lot of interviews with him, and he was quite charming.
Yes. And good looking too.
Quite good looking.
Yes.
And he was proud to tell us in the world how pretty he was.
Yes, he was.
And how ugly all the other boxes were.
Yeah, they were. And he told the truth. And it was, yeah. And
so as an activist though, I found that quite impressive, how he stood up for minorities, black people. I think one of the reasons for taking a stance against the draft was the fact that he didn't want to go fight, he referred to them as brown people.
yes, of course.
Who had never called him the N-word.
The N-word, right.
I still to this day can't say that word because I didn't grow up in that culture.
Yeah.
But he took a very hard stance, and I'm sure you stood by his side with that stance.
Yeah, I did.
There
a
were
lot of people did not support him in that.
Absolutely
A
not.
lot.
That was
that was tough. It was like,
Yeah.
whoa. It was like, ooh. It's almost like being an enemy coming into a country, because you don't know who's for you and who's not for you. But the only time that I think people started accepting it is that when he won, and he got his license back, and they said, well, you know, I have to give the man respect, because he did it, he stood up for it, and then people come around and started respecting, not the fact because he was just gorgeous and beautiful, but but you know, there's only one thing that Ali had. He has a kind heart. He loved people. He loved all people. They can be raggedy or they can be in a suit. He'll still shake their hand and give them a smile. And that's what actually helped him a lot, for people to love him so well.
I think the world fell in love with him.
Yes.
And I respect his stance more than anything else. He spoke about, you know, men being grouped together and kerosene oil being thrown on them and burnt alive. He talked about pregnant women and their stomachs being cut open and their babies being killed. I mean, he took a stance for something he believed in. And we see people in today's society taking a stand in what they believe in. So absolute respect. My question on it all, with such a hard stand back in the 60s, when I was just born, were you ever in fear? I mean, as a mom, children, you just felt protected, right?
In fear, anything with God himself.
Absolutely, great.
I came up believing in love. My mother and father were very great parents. My father introduced and opened doors to the different cultures. And my mom, she didn't say much, but we ate, we had beautiful clothes. She was at home to be with us all the time. When we needed her, they were there. When you come up with a free family, we didn't have problems with racism, or nobody bothered us about racism or anything. We never had, we didn't have that experience.
Right.
So it didn't really, you know, hurt us personally. But we did care about others who were like that, because my mother and father came from the South, Mississippi. But they had their own land in the South. They had cars, they had homes, they had crops. The only thing that we got from a general store down there were maybe buttons or thread, because all the food that we ever ate was on our land already. And when I went down there, I learned how to pick cotton. I learned how to gather up cattle. I took the horses and gathered all the cows and put the cow pens and put the pigs where they were supposed to feed the ducks, milk the cows, make butter. I mean, I got a great education being on the farm, my father's farm that he owned. And I was just really blessed for these little things, how to sew and to cook and do things like that. I come up into a religion that gave us morals and representation of life. Our teachers was different nationalities. I mean, I've had a great life, a wonderful, beautiful life. I didn't have to go through that kind of struggle. Little bitty things I went through, fighting for little women's rights and everything, you know. But other than that, we had it really easy compared to some of the Afro-Americans that went through abuse and racism and torture. And it's incredible. It's incredible. And it's still going on today. And I think we're always going to have that battle. We're always going to have that battle. But we have to learn one thing. One thing. If we can learn one thing and forget about all this racism and just think about the human source of being. The human race is the only race that we should really focus on right now, is the human race. We need to get out of that old school stuff. If people bother with you, look, man, you know, That's not gonna work, you know, and ignore that. And soon it'll pan away. But it's always gonna be there. We're always gonna have, and that's how we grow. That's how we learn, we grow and deal with life. And you have to make a choice. You have to we're all here to make choices. When you wake up in the morning, you try to think what kind of clothes you're gonna wear. Look at you. You came out there, you weren't thinking about it. I was gonna wear black and white. You come out wearing white. And, you know, you said, oh my God, do I have to change because she's wearing black and white? Why worry about that? You got up, you made that choice. And you made it the same choice as I made it. So we have to live with those choices. We have to learn to teach our children, you have a choice. Don't blame anything on anybody. Blaming people is not going to get it.
Accountability.
It's not going to work. You have to learn and accept what you can do and what you can't do.
So was it love at first sight?
Oh.
When you first saw Ali, I'm curious.
It was something. At 10 years old, I don't know what it was, but I said, I'm going to be seeing this person for the rest of my life. That's all I thought. I didn't know what it was because I was 10 years old. I didn't know what love was. I just knew that guy was going to be around for a while. And it was interesting.
Did you stalk him?
Huh?
Did you stalk him?
Nah.
You didn't have to.
I think he stalked me. But I think we stalked each other. It's the fact that we said things to each other that made us focus on each other. And I put a target right in my forehead when I tore up his autograph when I first met him.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you tell the story. Why did you tear up his autograph?
Well, you know what? When a man comes into a Muslim school, and we're radical, right? No slave masters, slave names. That came from the Muslim era. And somebody was saying, Cassius Clay, you want to give me this autograph? And this Cassius Clay, that's a Roman name, right? That's what I was taught. And Clay is like dirt you mold. Clay, I know it's a slave master's name, so I said, and you proud of this? I mean, this is a black revolutionary era here. And you're going to give me a slave master's name? I don't think so. So I tore it up.
Wow.
What did you
say?
I told him, well, if you want to get famous, buddy, you better get rid of this because it's not going to get it. You need to get a name of honor. You need to get a name of respect. You need to get a Muslim name. Then you can call yourself proud, but you can take that back with you. I do not want it. I'm Muslim. Hey, this ain't gonna work.
How long after did he change his name?
Oh, took a couple of years. yeah. But that story is in the book.
Yeah. So tell us about your book.
My book is going to have little tidbits of things that you did not understand or knew because they did not give me a chance to tell my version of the story. And every book that was ever written on Cassius Clay or Muhammad Ali has got a real big gap missing in it. And so this book will put people up to date on the real story of the man, the father, and the husband, not the fighter. And that's what it's just like going in that man's life where they're talking about his wife. You don't never know about his wife until he say something. Because every family has, ups and downs, pros and cons, and you're just going to get the real story. That's it. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's a story you never heard before.
Now, you have lived such a full life, Dr. Ali, and I just want you to talk on...
Hell, I lived a full life when I was 20.
That's okay. You're still living.
I'm sure
you're still living a full life.
Living,
but just to mention, you're a fighter pilot. You race cars. I mean, you are an actress. I mean, what really set you off to this path where you're not going to be defined by one thing?
Curiosity and challenge. I just always dibble-dabbled in everything that I had no knowledge about, and I mean, I've done just about everything: race cars, ride horses. I'm a real cowgirl, man.
Really?
Hell yeah. I'm a cowgirl. I'm a little pilot. I do a little karate. You know, I drag race. You know what I'm saying? Do all kinds of stuff. But I will not ski.
Ski is the.
I will not put popsicle sticks under my feet.
Right.
No.
Right.
Because it has no brakes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, somebody did tell me your feet have to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Not gonna
I'm
happen.
with you.
Nah.
I'm with
and,
you.
and this one guy, me and Ali went to Lake Tahoe one time, and we was at the ski lodge, and this one man was sitting up there, and he says, "Oh, I can show you how to ski." I said, "Really?" He said, "Oh, yes." I said, "But what happens if something happens?"
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Well, you just put on your brakes." I said, "There's no brakes."
Right.
He said, "No, your foot has." No. My mind ain't gonna be thinking that.
Exactly.
And this man just happened to be at the ski lodge on the porch with a cast in one arm right here and a cast in the leg. Now, what do you
What
think
can
was
he
going
tell you?
around? What can he tell me? I don't think so.
Right. Right.
So even the fact that he even tried,
Right.
I'm not gonna try that.
Nothing.
You know, and we've had great adventures. Ali don't like to fly, so at one time we went. He got a Bluebird lung bus, and we drove everywhere. The road alone is a book. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The road alone. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
The things I have to tell you that man put me through. I'm
Yeah.
telling you. It was funny. It wasn't a dull moment. I was just wake up saying, "What's going to happen today?"
Mm-hmm.
You know. I got to meet some of the greatest people in the world. U.B. Blakely, who was a great black composer.
Mm-hmm.
Ella Fitzgerald. I mean, you know, when you go to California, there's a map. Okay, this is in the 70s. Okay, and Ali and I was in the Central Hill Plaza Hotel in California.
Mm-hmm.
And Ali said, "I gotta go somewhere." You said you're gonna be in the hotel, right? I says, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Just go enjoy yourself. And he went off to go see Jim Brown do this movie called The Split.
Mm-hmm.
It was all done at this football field. And I said, "Oh well." So I just rented a car, and before I even got out of the hotel area, there was a little rack on the sidewalk with this little guy waving around saying, "Hollywood to the stars, Hollywood to the stars, home of the stars, 25 cents a map." And it tells you where the mansions are, you know, something new. I've never seen that before. I said, "This is interesting." So I took a quarter and got me a map. So the first house I came to was Ella Fitzgerald.
Wow.
Wonderful woman, Ella Fitzgerald. I parked the car, I saw the house, I got out the car, I rang the doorbell. I said, "Well, what the hell am I looking at a house for? I ain't gonna look at a house and drive by." I rang the doorbell, Ella Fitzgerald came to the door.
Wow.
Of all people, I said, "Ella, how you doing? I'm Liz Ali, I'm Muhammad Ali's wife. I just didn't tell. Come on in." And I went on in, cooked me coffee and cakes. And we sat down, talked about music. I said, "Oh, this is just wonderful." You know, I had goosebumps. It was just exciting.
Nice.
And then I said, "Well, I see you. Have a nice day. It was real. I'm so glad you came into the house." I went down the street. It was Doris Day. Oh, Doris Day. Ring the doorbell. Ring the doorbell again. Ring the doorbell. Nobody said, "Come on around the back."
Oh, wow.
I went around the back. She's out there plucking. Doris Day planting flowers in her back. Who does that? This is a star. She said, "What made you ring the doorbell?" "Well, it's your house, isn't it?"
You wanted to see it.
"I wanted to see you." Nobody does that. But Khalilah, don't take it to Hollywood.
Right.
She'll ring the doorbell. I'll do it. And
So-
Ali came to the hotel. So what you do? "Oh, nothing.
Not
Nothing
much.
all day. Nothing all day." Then we got on the airplane and was going back. Ella Fitzgerald was on back. "Hey, Khalilah, come on in. Come on in." She says, You know Ella Fitzgerald? Mm-hmm. He said, how did you know Ella Fitzgerald? You know, she came to my house. I'm so glad she rang the doorbell. She came in. I met Milton Berle like that, Jimmy Stewart. I met a lot of people there. I'm just a no-nonsense kid. I just do what I feel.
So Dr. Ali, being married to the greatest athlete of all times,
That it was.
and with your strong, no-nonsense personality, but quite open and quite honest and quite giving and loving, do you have any regrets looking back at your life with Ali? Any regrets, or what would you say are some of your highlights that you can tell our viewers?
The only regret, and I'm going to be very honest with you, is I didn't take pictures with the stars enough. I should have did more pictures of me and the stars instead of Ali and the stars.
We'll take some with you.
Okay. So that was the only regret. Other than that, even the bad things that happen in life, it was a learning process, and it just changed my life, learning from these bad things. A great learning vehicle, and it had to do it all over. I'd do the same thing all over again. Yeah,
That's
because
beautiful.
to be in that world with that particular person, with my life, this is, you're talking husband and wife.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get any closer than that. And the things that goes between a husband and wife, nobody really knows ever. And the feeling of being helping and supportive. Any other husband that I ever have had, I've been that supportive to. I think all women should be very supportive. And the minute you start being supportive, that's the minute you've forgotten who you are. You've forgotten who you are. When you start letting people come in your life that don't belong there, that's when you forget who you are. You don't listen to anybody's advice. That's who you are. You have an instinct. You have the power to do everything you need to be done through Almighty God. And between that Almighty God and your person, that's who you should keep together. Because once you let somebody in, it will destroy you. It will destroy your whole life. Because everything in this world is dealt on success. And once you get that success, then there's a little demon that comes in that says, divide and conquer, let's do this. And they're on your ass 24/7. So you have to make sure nobody comes in and divide you. And you and your family, you just don't let anybody divide you. That's all I got to say. And that's what's wrong with the young people out here. They let too many people tell them what to do, and they're not doing what they're supposed to do, because God gives you instincts to teach you what to do. It comes automatic. It comes automatic. And whatever you do, you never let anybody get in between you and your partner. Never. And you and your family. Never.
And no one can tell your journey like you have. And we're so looking forward to
Yes.
your book of the years of diaries that you've kept and
Yes.
putting together.
Oh, you know,
to
it's like,
share with the
you know, when you
world.
go back and you read those things, you don't even know that person. You go, wow,
I know.
that was me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know, I've read some stuff, I said that. Oh.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important to
write-
document.
document things, yeah.
Because you'll forget.
Yeah, and everybody has a story. You,
Right.
this man over there, cute guy over there. You'll talk about him later on. But these are heroes. These are people who are important to you. And, you know, we have a lot of beautiful heroes. And it could be so many more of them if they would just get off that ego, throw it away, and start creeping up on your sensitivity side, your side of humbleness, your side of submission, your side of honor, your side of respect. There's a lot of decency and respect and great people, and they need to bring that out. And a lot of people, there's always a way out. There's always a way out. And once you start killing yourself and taking yourself out, you have missed the whole program. You've missed it. You know, suicide is a no-no. There's more than one way out. Suicide is destruction of your own soul. You know, that means you don't respect God at all. You don't care about God, you don't respect Him. So if you start thinking in that path, you need to change your life around. Because you're greater than that. You are part of God's creation. And in each of His creations, He's made them great. It's up to them to bring their greatness out. And He can do that by learning from great people.
And a couple of our viewers are commenting, so I want to take just a second to
Sure.
read that to you.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
Hugh Bryan says, awesome guest. Michelle Hussein from Atlanta says, wow, so much wealth of knowledge, poise, and strength. And Camellia Trapp says, she's such an all-rounder, powerful woman. So definitely getting some positive feedback from the island folks.
And you know what? Those positivities, what they see in me is the reflection of them.
Absolutely.
And that's a great thing when I'm honored that these great people think that of good of me because I see who they are. And they have goodness and good, humble feelings for people because they have it within themselves as well.
Dr. Ali, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Do you compare in any way the tumultuous 60s, the civil unrest, with what's going on now? We somehow emerged out of that. And what is it going to take, do you believe, for us to get back to be more civil to each other?
Yeah.
And it seems like deja vu. Do you feel the same way?
Well, you know what? I look at this. The era of the 60s and the 70s was an era that brought respect. It was power, one-on-one force, fighting for rights, fighting for this, sacrificing for that. Why? Because they had good moral sense. They had good human sense. And they had good human respect for themselves. This is what made that issue emerge into a revolution. And it's because of their kindness, their warmness, their compassion for man, for woman, for family. It's because we fought. Now their freedom has set in. They're not taken away from reading or writing. They're not forced not to read or not to write. You got Google now. Hey, there's a whole new revolution now. So you got Google, so what's your excuse now? You should be able to go wherever you want to be, wherever you want, and nothing can stop you on this planet except you. There's no force, there's no police that can kill all black men. Do you know most of our black men that are killed today is by each other? They had 20 people, 20 times over, we have killed ourselves. Not cops. We killed each other. And it mounts way bigger than the massive of cop killings. And the only way we're going to stop cop killings if we change our attitude. Change our way of thinking. We have to be respected. And the only way we're going to get respected is we respect others.
One another, yeah.
You have to respect authority, respect a cop, respect those officers. If they got bad things in their mind, make them not think about what they're going to do to you. You stop them in their tracks and make them think of you and let him, what's up, officer? How can I help you? Anything wrong? Oh, you just messed them up right there because they can't think past that door. Right. And if you don't give them time to think about what they're going to do to you, then you've already got them. They're only human beings with an attitude. And if you come in and bring up attitude, you're giving them a reason.
Right.
Yeah.
So learn to respect the officer. You ain't did nothing, don't worry about it. What you running for? You running? Okay, you running?
Right.
Who runs when you're in the right?
Yeah.
Who runs? Don't run. Don't be pulling stuff out of your pocket. How many times everybody knows if you pull something out of your pocket, everybody knows that. And they still do that stupid stuff. 24 hours, they do the same thing and the same excuse all the time. I'm going for you see this 100 times and you ain't learned from it. So learn how to respect authority. If authority got a problem, let them have the problem. Yes, sir. How can I help you, sir? If a person do something wrong and you're doing that, you're on God's time. It's God's time now. So you need to do everything you can. You know what my daddy told me? If you go to jail, don't call me, I ain't getting you out. Because you done went over and beyond what I taught you. So you better do some fast talking to keep yourself from going to jail. Oh, sorry, I just do, no sir. I'll do anything to keep from going to jail. Because once they sign you up, you're done.
Oh yeah.
So it's a lot of attitude. Sure, we got bad cops out. Sure, we got people that got an ego problem. But see, that's your test in life. God has brought you to that arena for a reason.
And you have to rise above.
And you have to rise above it. Exactly. And because there are good men out there, there are great men, but these men got to change their attitude. They got to change their attitude.
I think the more we talk about it, Dr. Ali, it's the more we bring around that awareness.
Yes.
Because some people do run in fear. Some people don't know what to do.
Absolutely.
They may have an absentee parent. I personally got pulled over by the cop, and it was a dirty cop. I got pulled over for no reason, and trust me, if 911, if I didn't have the instincts, like you mentioned, to call 911 and have them on the phone, this man came to my window with a gun pulled, no cameras rolling in this day and age. So yes, and my first thoughts, if this was one of my children, would they have known to call 911?
Right.
So there are dirty cops.
Yes.
But like you mentioned, it's how we respond to that. So I used that test in life, and I came home and I had those conversations with my children to bring awareness, because we don't talk about it, and that's important.
And they
so
should.
we know how to react when it happens.
Absolutely.
And not have that fear, but like you said, just stand your ground and be professional, be polite, and
and you got
choices.
tools of the trade. You got tools of access where you can get help and everything. So, but you know what? Most importantly, you must do one thing. I don't care if you don't have a religion or whatever. Just pray to God for everything you want to do. Just say, hey God, help me out, guide me, protect me. If that's all you know, that should be something said every day, because the Supreme Being has put everything on this earth, from evolution to life. God is put here. And if you pray for that. So if God got upset with you, so you know what, these people are never going to straighten out. They're never going to do right. And I already know this for the future. So let me just take the moon away and just drown them all. How about that? That's something you should fear. Because he can do that. So we should fear what we don't know. Always fear the unknown. So the best thing for you to do is say, hey God, look, just open my path. Show me the right way or something, and just protect me. And forgive me and have mercy on me. That's all you got to do. You got to put God first.
You do.
You have to have some kind of spiritual upliftment, some kind of spiritual something to keep you protected. They took prayer out of school. Big problem. Big no-no. They should put prayer back in school. I don't care who did it or how they did it, but the majority of people should fight for that back in school. I'm serious. Prayer is very powerful. If you have no inkling on life, you get older and older and older and see what happens to your life. Because everything that you did is going to come back to you. It's going to come back on you. And if you don't give respect for your mother and father, that's going to come back on you too. Because your mother and father lies at the paradise of your feet.
Of course.
And you have to respect, whether good or bad, you must respect them. And if you don't have that, you will never have success, ever. And you're always going to be tormented by the bad forces of life.
And I'm a firm believer in parenting. So like you mentioned,
Yes.
they took prayers out of school.
Yeah.
As a parent, we pray at home.
That's
and we
right.
take our kids to church.
That's good.
So you instill
And that
what
helps,
you can at
that
home.
helps a lot, but
But
somebody
it's
need to
school.
fight to put it back in school.
I agree.
If that's where your
I
kid's
agree.
gonna be, that's where your focus of survival, your focus of demonstrating and fighting for something that need to be. Everybody need to fight to put prayer back in school.
I know we've gone absolutely over
I know.
and over
Yeah.
time.
then you know there are forces of evil at hand.
Oh, yeah.
They're here. Yeah.
So Cheryl, any parting words?
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna ask my questions off the air.
Well, oh really?
Yeah.
That sounds like
Questions off the
that's
air.
the juicy stuff. to say.
We're gonna
You
record
gotta
it.
keep
We're gonna
that.
record it.
Yeah, have some
We're
young
gonna
man.
record it, and it's gonna be aired because I have some
Oh, yeah?
very important questions for
Yeah,
you.
so we'll have a part 2.
Yeah. We'll have a part 2. We'll have some more video coming up, and you'll get to see more conversations between us.
Dr. Ali,
Yes.
we are so thankful. You are a treasure.
Thank you.
We love your fire. We love that everything that you bring. We love that every time you walk in a room, you lighten it up. And we love you forever.
Thank
We
you.
love
I
you forever.
too. You know, and I love being around people like you and the ladies here, giving information and showing people through your television and through the internet voices and words of wisdom. Because in everyone you get, I know you have a lot of people you're coming on your show that I've seen, and I've been happy to hear their views, a lot of things that I know about them. And we're going to be bringing a lot of guests to your show.
Oh, we
Oh,
appreciate that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, it's been an honor and privilege
Mhm.
of having you on the Caribbean Edge. I mean, it was an amazing journey how we even met you, so we're going to talk about that off camera.
You know what? That's good. But you know what? It's one thing I want to say to you guys. You know, people has blessed me with a lot of things, and recently I was blessed to be called now I was nominated for the domain letters, doctorate degree through the Christian University of Southern Indiana. You know, somebody came and did that for me. And see, I want to share and give it. I haven't had anybody that I think is worthy of it other than Coach Melvin Randall.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just submitted Coach Melvin Randall, the name, to Dr. Watkins of the Christian University of Indiana. I've just, put his name forward. So we're looking forward for that graduation.
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful.
From Blanche High
Wonderful.
School
From
in Pompano Beach.
Wonderful.
Blanche,
The historic Blanche
that's right.
High School in
That,
Pompano Beach.
Coach Randall has done so much for the community and the
Mhm.
children, and he deserves it.
Most
Pay it forward.
Play it
Pay
forward.
it
You
forward.
got to.
Pay it forward.
So
Is that
thanks-
right? Is that right, Coach?
Thanks for joining another episode of the Caribbean Edge.
Yes.
And for Dr. Ali for coming
Yes,
on,
ma'am.
we so appreciate
Thank you. I appreciate you.
And we're gonna have a part 2, so stay tuned. We'll post it.
Thank you, ladies and
Thank
gentlemen.
you.
for
Bye
tuning in.
bye, guys.
Bye.
See you next week.
See you next week. Awesome sauce. You want to do?
Awesome
you wanna
sauce.
Come on your
Awesome
show
sauce.
next, or do that one now?
Yeah,
You
we
want to do that?
can.
Let's do that.
What's your Dawn wants to do?
Don,
You want to do that right away?
Yeah, we
Let's
can
go.
just